I've got quite a long presentation because I've prepared for a longer slot. So what I've decided to do is go through that presentation very quickly. Some of it is actually standalone in the sense that it suggests links to other resources which you might find very useful. So what I'm going to try to do is to introduce you to a lot of different international practice in relation to communicating the message and getting market advantage from it. You'll remember from what I said in my previous presentation that from my perspective, one of the critical things about responsible tourism is that there is commercial advantage in it. I make no apology for that. I think we've had more success with commercial advantage than we have had with government so far, and I'm hopeful that in Alberta we'll see more activity by government going forward. That's actually the wrong presentation. Can we go back to the one on marketing? Well, let me just remind you, I left on one side all of the material about the market, talking about referrals and repeats and the importance of establishing your credentials as an ethical, responsible, somebody who actually cares about the place. Because part of what doing that does is to convey the message that you also convey, that you also are concerned about the tourist, that you're concerned for quality, you're concerned for the place in which you operate. We've had some very good presentations making those linkages between people and places and the importance of place to tourism, but the people are important too. And putting those two things together helps to build the credibility, thank you very much, Paul, but helps to build the credibility of the approach. So it's about all those things on the left, but it's also about the market advantage, the experience, the differentiation and PR, about brand value, and most critically for you, I think, the reputation for referrals and repeats. And a number of the speakers so far today have mentioned that business of people coming back feeling like it's a second home and so on. For me, it's about getting people to make the decision to purchase. It's critically about that commercial activity. Now, what you do when you market is to create the expectations of the guests who are going to come and visit your place. What you really want to do is to attract the kinds of guests who will enjoy your place. And that's what New Zealand has done brilliantly with its 100% Pure New Zealand campaign. They've got a very high level of satisfaction, and with that, a very high level of repeats. This is the problem, though, that you have if you allow other people to control your marketing. The images on the right are from the websites of the public bodies. The image on the left is a private sector person freeloading off the reputation of those places and selling cheap beer. You have to somehow, if you're the province particularly, you have to be able to get a grip of the images and the way in which your destination is presented externally. So it's about shaping expectations, choosing your clients, and if the client satisfaction is high, you get the repeats, and that's where the business value really kicks in. This is what's been said to me about responsible tourism experts, and I think it's probably even more true of sustainable tourism. We need stories which talk about people, and the Boomtown Trail example that we had today is a brilliant example of storytelling, credible stories about people. We need to shed, as the guy who writes Spotlight said to me, we need to shed this anorak clothing and don modern outfits. We need to understand that we need to be communicating what we're doing. Take a look at Spotlight. We produce it each year for World Travel Market. It's all about the individuals who through tourism make a difference. And we're always looking for new people to be involved. So if you want to be in there or to be considered for being in there, drop me a note. We're looking for credible stories. What are your stories? What is the Ato story, for example? What is the story for, we had a very good story about the cottages, the Pine Mountain. You need to consider the food, and we had good stories about the food today from the chef who talked with us about food provenance and the critical part of that to quality. What they say in Cochin, this particular group of hotels, every journey has a story to tell. Welcome to the story. Your experience of staying in one of those hotels in Cochin is a story. It's something people go away and talk about. They encourage people to go back because they've had the experience. One of the difficulties is that you sometimes see people putting up the towel sign in a hotel bathroom which doesn't have a aerated shower, isn't reduced flow. This one does, much more sensible. Telling the story about water efficiency. This is from the dinosaur park. From here, engaging the guests. We appreciate your help to reduce, reuse and recycle. Get the guest engaged in the story and the explanation about why they should do it. responsibletravel.com, co-founded by me and Justin Francis in 2001. I've sold out I have no commercial interest in it any longer. But this is essentially a website designed to sell responsible travel experiences into the UK market. It's very successful. It's about more authentic experiences, better places to live in, better places to visit. It works because it's about giving people a better way to travel and a better experience of the destination that they're going to. The Responsible Tourism Awards that I chair each year are UK based. They're seen as global awards. That was never my intention. It seems to me to be important that all destination markets generate these kinds of awards because it's a way of drawing consumer attention to the best examples. It's a really good way of recognising good practices, encouraging people and helping those businesses that have made the effort to get a market advantage. Here's an example of something being sold on responsibletravel.com about a First Nation experience in Canada. And just look at the language. Secluded trips, I'll buy that. Environmentally sensitive, well, that's a reassurance. A unique opportunity to enjoy great scenery and abundant wildlife, I'll buy that. And learn about the plants and animals, I want to buy that. I mean, that's a sustainability message, but it's full of sales. It's full of things I want to do and spend money to purchase. And that's the critical question. How do you turn the good practices into something which people want to purchase? I don't think it's particularly difficult to do. I want to just show you this quickly. It's a piece of work done by Xavier Font, who's a colleague of mine in the International Centre for Responsible Tourism. We persuaded Visit England, or they persuaded us, to do this piece of work. We're now doing it, or Xavier's doing it, for Wales, Scotland and Ireland. It's just taken off. It's about communicating sustainability and securing market advantage. Goes through all the standard questions you need to ask. And there is the book. What do you mean? Keep it real. Be creative. Lots of ideas in here about how you communicate the message. I've given you the website address. I'm sorry I don't have longer to look at it with you, but it's really worth looking at that. This is Bedruthan Steps. We awarded them, highly commended this year in the awards. This is a hotel which is outstanding. It's a converted army barrack block, Air Force block from the Second World War, been turned into a family hotel with remarkable sustainability practices. But what they've done is put that at the centre of the child's experience of the hotel. It gets very, very high rates of repeat visitation because the children enjoy it, because it's a well-run establishment, and because more than anything else, I think, people feel that the Bedruthan Steps Hotel cares about the clients and cares about the place it's in. It's a very positive marketing messages. It's a very successful one. They get lots of market advantage. These are not my slides. They are the owner, one of the owners of the Bedruthan Steps presentation. This is the way she sees it, not the way I see it. The dangers of using responsible tourism to market hotels, she's also very aware of. Over-promising, failing to deliver on what you commit to do is a critical mistake to make. So think about it. It's a product and experience enhancement. It gives you differentiation in a crowded market space. It's non-price competition. There are costs, as we've heard, but this is non-price competition. It pays off. It protects the bottom line. It's about segmenting the market and going for the bits of it that you want. It is about cost cutting. It's about using the internet to market rather than printing lots of brochures. It's about giving people what they want, which is that guilt-free experience, the thing they don't need to worry about. But most of all, I think, it's about the better experience. I just wanted to show you, finally, a couple of pieces from tour operators in the UK, both as it happens from TUI. This is TUI's work with its own clients, and it reflects what that first data I showed you from Canada shows, which is that different nationalities, these are all TUI clients going to TUI websites, asking them what matters to them about sustainability. And secondly, whose responsibility is it? And you can see there is some difference between different nations. I think you need to be aware of that in terms of your own business, your own market segments. You need to think what works for your market segment. And finally, and I don't have time to go through this. This is not my presentation. It's Tim Williamson's. It's because he's a customer director at TUI UK and Ireland, or he was, till he moved to China just a few weeks ago, talking about marketing sustainability along the customer journey. But just to whet your appetite, what he's done here is to go through why they do it. They've talked about why it's embedded in the sustainability practices of TUI, and then they've gone through the customer journey, through each stage of the customer journey. And as you go through it, you see what TUI is now doing at each stage of the customer journey, the decision-making, the planning, the preparation for the trip, the anticipation, what happens as people fly out, what happens on the holiday and what happens when they return. It's a remarkable piece of work by TUI, but it demonstrates the extent to which even a very large industrial mainstream tour operator in the UK is now doing to put this sustainability message throughout the experience of the tourist going through. It's a quite remarkable commitment on their part, but they're doing it at least in part because it's the right thing to do, but partly as well because that's what consumers in the UK now demand. And, as they put it, it yields their success. It's fundamental now to the business strategy. It's no longer for them an add-on. And I think that's where we're at with sustainability. It needs to move from being something we do in addition to running successful tourism businesses, become part of something which we do as part of running that sustainable tourism business. Thank you very much.